We've had questions about the disciplinary committee. Here's him answering a question, I believe, from Brandon Thurston during his media call the other day about the disciplinary committee.
Okay, with 3 minutes to go, the final question and the time for the answer will be Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics. Brandon?
I was wondering if you could tell us who the members are of AEW's discipline committee, and do those members have experience in how to handle sexual misconduct claims if they come up?
That's a great question. We have, trained professionals on the discipline committee, including two attorneys and Brian Danielson. And Brian, they're different backgrounds, and that's the idea, to have people from different backgrounds and different experiences in wrestling, which is certainly its own unique business with its own unique set of challenges.
Do these people have names, or do they grow from pods?
Have common goals for the company and for the well-being of the wrestlers, and also people that share high integrity. And the attorneys that I chose and Brian Danielson, I think that's a really strong group of people, and they would be looking out against all misconduct claims.
Tony chose two attorneys and Brian Danielson. So Tony put the committee together that he always says, oh, it's them, I have nothing to do with it. He chose two attorneys. He says they're highly qualified to deal with sexual harassment. I'd love to know the training that Brian Danielson went in to deal with that. But it's his handpicked people, just like for the investigations he did. But let's go back to this.
But also, and they're nebulous people. If they're going to be disciplining these public figures in this big company, shouldn't we say, well, it's Bill and it's Doris over there?
I wanted the committee to reflect different views in wrestling, so I put Brian Danielson on it. What?
That's a different view in wrestling these days.
And we've tried to train them up to do their best, I think, to really, whatever the situation is in terms of misconduct, to do whatever it takes to ensure the well-being of the wrestlers, which is first and foremost here above everything else. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brandon.
Yeah, boy. Thank you, fuck you, bye, Brandon.
What are your thoughts? There clarifies who's on the, we don't have the names of these lawyers, by the way.
That's it. Yeah, who's on first? Which one? Again, we talked about this when the whole Punk thing was going on, and he said, well, Brian's trying to take the heat so that people won't be mad at Tony, because they're trying to keep Tony babyface because it'll hurt his feelings if fans get mad at him. Brian Danielson, of all of the probably people involved on their roster, is the one guy that especially their core audience and most wrestling fans, don't want to disrespect, aren't going to fucking hop on too heavy. He can smile, and he's a nice guy, and he can kind of absorb heat that other people couldn't. And I don't think he can come up with anybody else, so the other two are just nameless lawyers, but they're people who work for him. So, yes, Brian, from a standpoint of being a nice man, is that's his qualification for this. And who knows who they lawyers being nice, moral people. But you know why a snake doesn't bite a lawyer, Brian? Huh?
I don't know. No.
Professional courtesy. So, well, except for him. He's one of the good ones.
That's right.
Yeah. There's one in every crowd. But
well, that's him. But just to get you pumped up.
By the way, I thought it was the disciplinary committee. He can't even pronounce the name of his own bogus committee. The discipline committee sounds like a fucking band of S&M dancers in a strip club.
Well, to get you pumped up for the pay-per-view, let's hear his closing thoughts here.
I'd like to hear the last thoughts Tony Khan has.
And that'll do it for today. Tony, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, this one is very special to me. I think it's the most special event in the history of AEW for me personally. And it's the first time for me it's ever felt so personal to have Sting's last match and have it be in AEW, and to have, that's amazing to begin with. But now, having spent over 3 years with Sting and having Sting wrestling in AEW regularly for these past few years, and getting to know Sting and getting to know Steve,
getting to know all about you.
He's an incredible person, and he's one of the all-time greatest wrestlers, and we're a young wrestling company, AEW. I think the fact that Sting has come to AEW and had a run that will always be remembered by his loyal fans, and a run that will culminate in a final match that I think will be a great match, and a show that top to bottom includes matches, and in particular, I think really 8 matches that have had a lot of established television story build, a lot of great matches.
What is going on with him?
Get to those 8 matches, and then also within the scramble, some rivalries that I'm looking forward to showcase, and some stars. It should be also a very fun match. And
now he kicked in.
I think top to bottom, it's been our best built pay-per-view.
Oh, come on.
Oh, boy.
Really, for weeks, the focus has been on these matches and stories. And
if the stories aren't good, could it be the best booked pay-per-view?
Well, no, there hasn't been any focus on any fucking thing. None of it's made sense. It's been a mess. And when you compare that with the planning and the execution they at least put into Punk and MJF, or in some of the MJF's other title matches, or it just
Cody and Jericho was probably built up better than this.
But here's what I was going to say was, it almost, I don't know, he doesn't sound normal here. Normally he's talking like a 45 RPM record on 78, and he won't shut up, and he's bouncing off the wall, and you just don't know whether he's on medication or whether he needs to be on medication to stop him from doing that. And now he's gone completely in the opposite direction, where, I mean, my cousin Larry was in a coma last summer. He's talking quicker than Tony now. He's grasping for a word. Is he on now, finally, a medication to control what he's normally like, or is he off the medication? I don't know.
Well, it's daytime. This was a call during the day as opposed to a lot of the late night media scrums, and he has a lot of energy.
Shit, wait a minute. This is him in the daytime, but the scrums are him at 2:00 in the fucking morning?
Yeah, this is the middle of the day.
Jesus Christ, he'd have worn Rick James out.
Well, let's go back to Super Freak himself, Tony Khan.
I think it's been one of our best builds to a pay-per-view. There's something about Revolution. It feels like there's always a lot of excitement and buzz going into this event. And the first Revolution in Chicago is one of my favorite events we've ever done. We've had great Revolution shows all over the country, coast to coast. But never before have I been more excited for Revolution or for any show as I am for this Sunday. And thank you all very much for joining for the media call. Thank you, Jim and Robin and Mandy, for helping organize this.
Thank you, Tony.
And I'm very grateful to all of you, and really looking forward to Sunday's Revolution pay-per-view, probably more than anything we've ever done. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Tony.
So this is him at noon.
This was the middle of the day, yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Maybe he just woke up. We don't know what time zone he was in. Maybe he hasn't had his coffee yet.
Is that what they're calling it these days? It still comes from Colombia.
Without that Colombian bean, that coffee, it may be tough to have the usual pep in your step that you would have at 3 a.m.
Well, naturally, I mean, look at Mr. Bean himself, and you need to look no further and to find out when your pep needs to be in your step at 3:00 in the morning. You know what kind of bean you need. I wish we had a sponsor transition.
I know.
For that.
Speaking of Bean, hello, Bean, in the house.
Well, wait a minute. Speaking of Bean, Brian, have you been listening to the Raycon wireless earbuds?
Yes, unfortunately, I hear your technical difficulties, but they're fine earbuds.
Well, I'll tell you, you will hear me. It'll sound like I'm in your head, ladies and gentlemen. It will sound like I have taken control of your mental thought waves, and my voice is cacophonying around in the cranium of your mind. And it's all a journey through the center of your ears thanks to the Raycon wireless earbuds that offer amazing quality audio at half the price of the other premium audio brands. We will mention no names, but you people know who we're talking about. Those things are overpriced and overrated, whereas these, well, they're cheaper than a hobo's spit. I'm telling you, you won't have anything in these. So who cares what happens to them? But I'll have you know that they're still fine quality pieces of merchandise that are guaranteed and designed to fit comfortably in your ears, and they are actually going to stay there. And let's say you're walking down a street, and as often will happen in a major American metropolis in this day and age, somebody hits you back behind the head with a tire iron. When you go down, generally when you hit that concrete, even the premium audio brand's earbuds will scatter out of your ears and roll into the sewer somewhere. Well, these will not, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to stay inside your head at least until the swelling necessitates their removal through surgical means.
Well, let me stop you right there. First of all, we're not wishing any harm on anyone. Second of all, more than likely, you don't have to worry about getting hit in the head with a crowbar unless you're in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago maybe, or some parts of Manhattan right now.
Depends on who you know.
But the other thing is, we cannot in any way, on behalf of Raycon, guarantee that they will stay in your ear after you hit the concrete, after the bash in the head with a crowbar. There's a lot of hitting going on, and things may be displaced.
Well, now they might move around a little bit in a situation like that, but you'll still be able to hear what's going on until, eventually they put you in that medically induced coma. And again, the swelling, normally you'd think the swelling would help them stay in your ears, but sometimes they have to be removed so you can drain your brain fluid pan out your ear tubes, the eustachian tubes. But nevertheless, just keep your head on a swivel, and this shouldn't happen to you. But Raycons can go everywhere with you, so you can listen at any time because they got the 8 hours of playtime and the 32-hour battery life. So they're going to just keep pumping those power waves into your head, from bombarding you from both sides. And there's no really concrete evidence that something like that is going to grow tumors within your brain. And they've got the 3 customizable sound profiles, the earbud tap function, so you can just noise isolation mode, boom, or awareness mode, boom. When you touch on awareness mode, instantly a newscaster comes on, makes you aware of everything going on in the world in like a 90-second period of time. It's very fast. You got to listen, potentially take notes. But anyway, Brian, you know how you can save money on this whole thing, don't you?
No, but please tell me.
Well, what the folks can do right now, if you need some earbuds, quality earbuds at half the price of the big boys, then all you got to do is go to buyraycon.com, BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/JCE today, right now, this moment, and get 20% off and free shipping. 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com if you use the /JCE. So right there, free shipping. I mean, these things, they weigh, my God, 1.5 ounces. It might take fucking what? $1.95 to ship these. So you're saving that right off the bat. And 20% off of the cost of them to begin with. So you're coming out ahead no matter what's going on. And then you can listen to anything you want to listen to until the blow comes crashing down, and then it's usually from behind and you'll never see it.
Once again, Let's not talk about what you will see. Let's talk about what you will hear with Raycon.
That's right.
What's that promo code, Jim?
JCE. And you'll hear all kinds of, as a matter of fact, you'll hear it makes a noise. In addition to seeing the sparkly things and the lights flashing before it goes completely black, you do hear bells and whang and a clang in your head when the brain damage happens. It's when the brain, swishing around there and the brain fluid hits the side of the skull and bounces off and bruises the brain. That's what damages it. You can hear that in your own head, so you'll know it happens. Buy Raycon.com/JCE. You'll be entertained right up until the moment of contact.